Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Picture this. You're on a road trip, right? You take a little detour through a dense forest and suddenly, boom, a fallen tree is blocking your path. You turn around to find another route, but somehow you end up in this dilapidated, completely secluded village. And the craziest part, no matter how many times you try to drive away, the road literally just loops you right back. That's the terrifying premise we're breaking down today. It's this insane geographic anomaly, a psychological nightmare that traps literally anyone unfortunate enough to cross its borders. Welcome to the incredibly dark lore and survival mechanics of Nightmare Town. Seriously, what if every single road out only led further in? It's an impossible geographical trap. We see this happen with Jim's family early on, and later with a whole bus full of passengers. You hit that fallen tree, you turn around, and the road forces you right back into the center of town. It completely defies all known laws of physics. Mathematically speaking, escaping by vehicle, just impossible. You are trapped. And honestly, being stuck wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if it were just some quiet, rundown rural village. But as we're about to see, nightfall brings something so much worse. 0.001%. Yeah, you heard that right. That is your estimated survival rate if you happen to be caught outside after dark. The stakes in this town are strictly life or death, no in between, and the countdown literally begins the second the sun starts to dip below the horizon. If you aren't secured safely indoors when darkness falls, well, you simply will not live to see the morning. It's as brutal as that. All right, moving on to Section 1, the rules of survival. Let's talk about staying alive. Because of this constant threat, the town's residents have had to adapt to a seriously grim daily reality. They aren't just, living, they're executing this highly coordinated daily defense protocol just to buy themselves another sunrise. Every single evening, Steven, he's the town's de facto leader, kind of like a self-appointed sheriff, he rings a bell. That's your cue. Step 1, get inside immediately. Drop what you're doing. Step 2, lock absolutely every door and window, double check them. And step 3, which is literally the most vital part of the whole routine, hang the protective black stone right near the entrance. You have to follow these steps, without fail, every single night. So, what's the deal with this black stone? It's the absolute crux of your survival. Steven actually discovered these purely by accident when he fell into an underground cave. It turns out these strange rocks create this invisible physical barrier that the creatures outside physically cannot cross. Without it, you are completely defenseless. To really put into perspective how strict this rule is, just look at the brutal execution of the drunken husband from our source material. He failed to secure his window, which tragically got his entire family killed. As punishment, Steven locked him in an iron house overnight, but crucially, without a black stone. The monsters effortlessly tore that solid iron house apart and ate him. I mean, the stone is literally your only shield. So that brings us to Section 2, Anatomy of a Monster. Let's look at the actual physical threat here. Now, their primary hunting tactic is straight-up psychological warfare. See, these monsters, they don't look like your typical grotesque, drooling beasts. They look like us. They appear as dead wives, beloved grandmothers, or just really beautiful strangers. They actually use familiar voices and familiar faces to trick victims into voluntarily opening their doors. They'll smile, they'll whisper sweet memories to you through the glass, and the second you break the seal of your home, boom, their true nature is revealed. They are bloodthirsty killers who meticulously extract and consume human organs. It is terrifying. For the longest time, the town actually believed these things were immortal and totally bulletproof. But then a massive breakthrough happened. Steven managed to infect a monster with poisoned bloodworms that had burrowed under his own skin. It actually killed it. Nurse Christie then performed an autopsy on the dead creature, and guys, the details are so gruesome. Their internal organs are completely withered, almost like they've been dead for centuries. And if you pierce their gallbladder, they don't bleed red blood. They bleed this strange, toxic yellow bile. But here is the absolute darkest secret of all, which was discovered deep down in those underground tunnels. These creatures, they aren't aliens, they aren't demons from hell, they are former human parents. Yeah, sometime in the distant past, they made a horrific pact, sacrificing their own children in the dark in exchange for this twisted version of immortality. That's why they're cursed to wander the night forever, feeding on the living, completely trapped in their decaying shells. All right, Section 3, Anomalies and Hallucinations, where we shift from mind to matter. Because the town doesn't just attack your body, it uses the environment itself to mess with you. The forest completely defies all laws of physics. I'm talking about a teleportation tree with a hollow trunk that drops you in random and sometimes deadly locations. There's also this impossibly massive network of underground caves where the monsters actually sleep during the day. Oh, and somewhere off in the distance, constantly taunting the residents, is a mysterious lighthouse, which, by the way, shouldn't even exist in the middle of a landlocked forest. And then comes the psychological curse. It always starts with the faint sound of an invisible music box. Suddenly, residents begin to hear this chilling poem. They touch, they break, they rob. No one here has freedom. Honestly, it gives me chills. And this isn't just some creepy nursery rhyme. It's practically a mental virus. Once you hear that music and that poem, a deadly psychological curse infects your mind. It's a clear signal that the town is slowly, methodically breaking your sanity down. And this madness actually manifests physically, and it's different for everyone. For instance, Jade begins obsessively seeing and drawing these bleeding circular symbols everywhere. Deputy Kenny, he's haunted by these terrible dreams of biting cicadas, only to wake up and find actual physical bruises on his arm exactly where they bit him in the dream. And Fatima experiences a truly terrifying phantom pregnancy, where she's driven to eat rotten vegetables just to feed a baby that isn't even there. The town literally uses your own subconscious to destroy you from the inside out. Which brings us to Section 4, the terrifying truth, the historical trap. So, as it turns out, the monsters and the hallucinations, they're really just symptoms of a much, much larger machine. This historical trap dates all the way back to 1864. We know this from dates found on little paper slips hidden inside hanging glass bottles. Then, moving forward on the timeline, we have Victor's childhood, which was marked by a resident named Christopher going completely mad and massacring the town. Fast forward to the present day with new arrivals like Jim, Tabby, and that bus full of doomed passengers. You see what's happening? This cycle of entrapment and death has been looping for over a century. The town just continuously resets its board with new pieces. And the toll of this cycle is absolutely devastating. Just keep this number in mind. 14. In a single night, 14 innocent people were massacred at the communal house. Why? Simply because one resident, Kevin, finally succumbed to the psychological warfare and opened a window for a monster disguised as a beautiful woman. That's all it took. One broken rule, one tiny moment of weakness, and 14 lives are instantly extinguished. But here is the ultimate twist, and it was deciphered through musical notes hidden inside those glass bottles I mentioned earlier. The residents, they aren't just random, unlucky victims. No, they are trapped in a literal reincarnation loop. Tabby realizes she is actually the reincarnated mother of the elderly man Victor. Jade realizes he is the reincarnation of Christopher, the very man who massacred the town decades ago. They are continuously brought back to this exact nightmare because, in their past lives, they failed to save the ghosts of those sacrificed children. The town simply will not let them die permanently until the puzzle is solved. Which brings us to a totally mind-bending climax. Tabby actually manages to reach that mysterious lighthouse where she is suddenly pushed off the top by this creepy boy in white. But instead of dying, she wakes up in a hospital, in the real world. The doctors tell her she was just found in the woods. But as she escapes the hospital and wanders out onto the normal modern streets, she looks across the road and sees that exact same terrifying boy in white staring right back at her. So, was her escape real, or has the town's hallucination simply expanded its borders? We're going to conclude with this wildly provocative thought, spoken by that very boy in white. To find the answer, you have to return to the starting point. Think about it. The children born in the dark created the very teleportation tree that anchors the whole town. If the residents are reincarnated souls doomed to repeat their failures, is breaking the cycle even possible, or is the illusion of escape just the town's cruelest psychological torture yet? It really makes you wonder, if you ever find yourself facing a fallen tree on a secluded road, should you even try to turn back? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.